Hey design enthusiasts, welcome to Next in Line Design, a podcast by the World Design Organization's Young Designers Circle. We're all about embracing a new mindset in design, one that's bold, innovative, and impactful. We're here to connect with the next wave of design talent and explore how you can use your creativity to make a real impact. Get ready for fresh ideas and inspiration from young designers around the world who are reshaping the industry. We're here to spark conversations, inspire change, and explore new ideas in design. But remember, these are just our perspectives on one big, evolving field. Please note that the opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official views of the World Design Organization or its affiliates. Let's dive in and see what's next in line. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Next in Line Design. Today, I'm here with two of my peers, Natalia and Leslie, and we're going to be going over some tips, seeing as graduation season has just happened for a lot of design students. Today, we're going to be talking about navigating your first job hunt and getting over imposter syndrome and building your confidence. So before we get started, I'll introduce myself. My name is Alexis Divis, and I'm a young designer based in the New York City area, working in the healthcare industry. And ladies, I'd love for you guys to introduce yourselves.
Okay, I'm Natalia. I'm from Colombia, and I live in a little city called Pasto, the land of the carnivals and rich culture. I'm an industrial designer. I work in a graphic and visual design, especially in social media, but I really like the heritage investigation and the cultural investigation. And this is really my first time here. So I'm really excited. I'm glad to this episode. And yeah.
Hi, I'm Leslie. I'm a industrial designer based out of Wisconsin. Currently, I work for a medical manufacturing field, and eventually I want to move more towards ergonomics and healthcare.
Love that. Okay, so today's going to be a great conversation because we've got a lot of different perspectives and three very different jobs. So I feel like that's a great basis for a conversation about your job hunt and building confidence as students prepare for that. So maybe we can start by sharing stories of how we found and approached our first opportunities. What did preparation look like for you guys?
It was just a lot, just right out of school, trying to find a job. Luckily, just after getting out, because we have our thesis and portfolio reviews, having that prepped was really nice, and just trying to look at jobs that were offered and cutting things out, reordering parts of the portfolio to fit more of the positions that I was applying for. I think that really helped. And honestly, just doing a bit of preliminary research into the companies before applying is something I would definitely recommend.
Mm-hmm. And Natalia, what was it like for you?
When I started looking for work, I had no connections, no resources, and not even a good portfolio. And what only I had was desire, and so I put myself out there. Applied. I think we have to apply it without fear. And I learned from every rejection because I have a lot of rejections. And because work didn't just show up, but every step made me stronger and clearer about my path. And I think in design is not about knowing everything. It's having 2 or 3 strong skills that can define you. And also build your personal style too. I think your portfolio should clearly say, this is me, and this is what I can do for you. And yeah, I think this.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Like, same same as you, Natalia. I felt like I had no resources, no connections, going into it blind. And I hear pretty often that finding your first job is the hardest job you'll ever land. Like taking that first step, building the confidence to look and find your first opportunity. It's really hard. And I feel like if I had one word to describe what that was like, it was just very overwhelming. A lot to learn, a lot to do, a lot I didn't know. And so I kind of want to key into some of what Leslie was mentioning, like the research and the connecting. In my experience, I found soft networking to be super critical. So having a lot of conversations, being on a lot of calls, and having to learn to deal with this navigating small talk and and speaking to professionals as a student was really scary at first, but I think practicing that skill was very critical to my first job. Did you guys also have to do like a lot of networking calls? How did you guys approach that when you started out?
So for me, I feel like my experience was a bit more easy, more eased to go in, because in school I was doing trade shows with some startups that I worked with. So I already had the preliminary networking skills, just trying to promote that stuff. And for me, I'd say the biggest problem, problem that I faced was I moved to a different state right out of school. So the network that I built in that community just was gone. So one thing that really helped me was looking into the different design communities that were in my area, whether that was through Instagram, Discord, just looking at the IDSA page to see what chapters were nearby, just sending signals into the universe, please help me connect with other designers. But just research, looking into groups, that is definitely a great way to network first, because as a fresh graduate, people will be like, oh, you're a baby, we want to help you out. And they'll be very accommodating to teach you about a culture of design in that area. And from there, you can just learn about how different companies in the area work and if they fit the vibe you're looking for that way. So it's sort of a bit more hard networking, because it's more in person and interactive, but I think that's also more helpful because you get more of that genuine human interaction. You're not just looking for a job at that point, you're looking to build a community as well.
Totally, that makes a lot of sense. And Natalia, what was that like for you?
Okay, for me, it's a little bit weird because I think authenticity is power in my journey. Because I think companies don't just hire talent, they hire authenticity, because we are a lot of designers. And when your work tells your story, I think your values and your vision, people really notice. And I think don't be afraid to show your process and your flaws too, because this is a key. That's where humanity as a designer lives, and we can really connect with other designers, other companies, and say, okay, he has these processes and these challenges, and I think this is a key important thing.
I totally agree with you. Yes, I think that's so important. And I think people don't talk about that enough, showing your process and not being afraid of it. I've actually found in interviewing students, so now that I am a professional, I mostly interview interns and co-ops coming in, and I help them out. I guess I don't get to hire anybody, but I get to watch the process and help. And something that I notice is that students are so protective of their not finished work. They don't want to show anything that's not done to a professional. I feel like that's backwards. Like you said, it's so important to know how someone is thinking and what they're doing, because then you know how they're going to work with you. And if they're a good team culture fit, if they're someone that will be right for you. So I think that students definitely need to feel more empowered to show the sloppy work or the messy work. Also, I think it's more fun. I don't know if you guys would agree. I think it's more fun. So that, I think he's really well into talking about building up confidence. So building up the confidence to connect with people, building up the confidence to share work that isn't finished. Imposter syndrome is a huge part of this. I think it's something that many design students feel when they leave school. They get their diploma. They're like, okay, I'm a professional now. Oh my God. So it hits really hard when you're just starting out. And I was wondering, what did imposter syndrome look like for you guys when you left school? What did that feel like?
Okay. As a designer in Colombia, imposter syndrome wasn't just something I read about. I really live it. And since I was a little, I heard things like that won't make you money or you are dreaming too big. And in a country with inequality runs deep, studying a creative career is often seen as a luxury, not a necessity. And I studied, as I mentioned before, I studied in a university in the south of the country where access to technology or global opportunities, even English, is very extremely limited. And when your surroundings don't value what you do, you start doing yourself too, I constantly feel like I have to prove even to myself that pursuing design was worth it. And the key was realizing the problem wasn't my talent. It was the system around me. So I used what little I had, internet and time, the basics. And I started studying English on my own. And then I found creative communities online like this, like the Young Designer Cycle. And then that's when I realized there are spaces out there where your ideas are welcome and celebrate. And I'm so happy to connect with other young designers around the world right now, because really empowered me to continue to create and be a good designer.
I feel like finding a people and really like keying in on community to help you build confidence is great and fantastic. Leslie, what was that like for you?
Just like racking my brain, I'd say, like, I know it's not the easiest depending on what part of the world you're in, but if you have access to a therapist, I feel like that's very helpful. Imposter syndrome, and something I'm still working on. It's definitely improved since like when I got out of school or was in school, but just like I'm not big into, like, I'm still learning about what self-compassion. It just seems too lofty for me. But my therapist told me about self-neutrality, and that's just sort of listing down objective facts about yourself. Like, okay, I was in school. I completed 4 years. I got a bachelor's degree. That means that I am capable, because not just like sometimes I don't feel like it, but the fact that an accredited institution gave me this diploma shows that I have the necessary skills to be in this field. Just things like that, just things rooted in observation and more like quantifiable things sometimes helps remove the nervousness and shame from imposter syndrome.
I feel like that's a very strategic way to go about it. Like just looking at that.
Very clever.
Maybe I should have thought about that when I graduated school. I feel like I did something really silly, but it worked out. I just used the fake it till you make it principle. Like literally every day, I was like, I'm just going to show up. There's this quote, and it's like, dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have, or, speak like you have the job that you want, not the job, like it's a philosophy on how you present yourself. Like you're always working towards that goal. And I feel like that's what I did. I just was like, okay, I'm here. I'm just going to keep the freak out for when I get home. And there was certainly quite a few freak out moments. Like, oh my gosh, being so nervous for interviews, being so nervous to talk to leaders, I feel like was huge. Like I was better with it was easier for me to connect with junior designers at companies that I was interested in than it was to connect with the design manager. That was like way too scary for me. So then I started to do a funny version of what Leslie just said, which was a brag list, but it was like a silly brag list, not like a non-deniable one. It wasn't very black and white, like I got my college degree, so I'm prepared. It was more like all the silly projects that I did during school and what I learned. Like I took a welding class in school and I welded like a giant, what would you even call it? Like a giant pair of scissors almost is what they looked like. And I was like, remember when I did that? If I can weld a giant pair of scissors, I can do a 30-minute interview. Like it was sort of like that. Did you guys keep brag lists or anything similar to help you?
I'd say like similar, but also different. Is like I have like on Instagram, sometimes you scroll and you see like, oh wow, like there's these people who are professionals and they do these designs that make no sense. Just having like a little folder, like bookmark saved of them, just kind of helps boost my confidence. Like reminds yourself, like, okay, if this person can get hired to like for like a government position and put UX to say like, hey, I'm looking for a death certificate for myself, which is silly. Like I can,
like a bad design tab. Like that's so funny. Oh my gosh! And Natalia, did you keep a brag list?
Yeah, I think I look for other designers with more experience, even online. Learn from them, and I think continuously ask for feedback when you connect. And sometimes I think all it takes is one person who believes in you, and if you can find that person yet, be that person for someone else. Because sometimes it's so scary, and we feel little when we go out from university, and I think we can connect with this safe circle of people that will help us in everything. Even it's just an advice or just a joke. I think this family.
Yeah, I think that's really important. What were you saying, Leslie?
I was going to say, like, speaking of just like finding that like someone to help boost your confidence, just I'm thinking about mentorship. That's not really something that people talk about like finding when you're in school, at least not for me. And honestly, there are like lots of different mentorship programs that are local in areas. So just like Googling that, I'm sure you can find something. I just recently joined a program and I've been loving meeting with my mentor once a month. She's really just knowledgeable about the things that I want to do. And it's really funny just filling out the application. It seems like we were in different fields, but we had actually lots of overlapping connections, which is really cool to find out. And like outside of just local networks, there's always like sites like ADP List where you can just talk to someone online, and even just having that as support is just really helpful, getting like someone with more knowledge, opinion, and guidance as you're still trying to figure things out.
Yeah, I used ADP List too, actually, to connect with people when I was a student. It was kind of like a dating app, but for networking. And you could like see the different professionals and what times they might be available and what they were interested in. I really liked that. I also did a lot of LinkedIn messaging. And I think social media messaging too. If I saw someone like on Instagram that I thought was really interesting, I would always reach out. But I also feel like people don't key in enough to the networks of their universities and their professors specifically. Like your professors, are professionals and are normally connected to lots of other professionals. So a lot of my best networking was done by asking my professors what kind of people I should look to connect with, or if they knew anybody that would be great to talk to. And normally when someone is connected through an educational institution like that, that, they're very willing to talk to students. But I feel like most professionals are, like you guys were saying, it's they want to give back. We've all been in the position of someone who's in their first job search, and it's sort of our time to make a space for the new grads and make sure that they're supported.
Yeah. Honestly, that's a good point. I really didn't do that enough. Just use like my professors, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense. They have all these connections. That's why there's teaching and stuff.
Did you guys use if you guys did cold calls or cold messages to people that you didn't know that you wanted to connect with, was there anything that you did to make it easier? Was there like a specific, did you email? Would you LinkedIn message? How would you introduce yourself? How would you go about that?
So for me, I mostly used LinkedIn, and for me, like, I know you mentioned that you would just try to message junior designers and not like the heads of design. Like, I was the opposite. It's like, you know what? I feel like if I talk to someone in charge, they'll know more about stuff.
You should have talked to the man. Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah, working with the CEO, the directors of design, the VPs and stuff.
That's
then,
so silly.
And I'm just like, hey, I'm new to town. I'm looking for a job in the design field. Would you have like time for like a coffee or something? I'd love to learn more about like what you do.
And would you say that you were relatively successful with that? Would you get a lot of responses back?
I'd say more so with people from like the HR and recruiting. But I would say that's also like important, because those are the people that you want to talk to. They're the people that are trying to vet people that fit the company anyway. So it kind of works out. And everyone's always so nice, especially when you're a recent grad, because they want you to succeed. They know that it's not something you've really dealt with before, so you're still learning.
Yeah, I think that people know about this feeling, it's like, one time I really know about it's scary, but I think that worse begins. And think even if your voice shakes sometimes, so your body shakes too, send an email, reach out to that person, apply for that opportunity, and don't wait until you're ready, because I think no one really is. And yeah, it's like just research, send that message, and don't care so much about rejections, but because rejections are also a really key point in the path for you, for building your abilities. And yeah, I think
that's great advice. Everyone will experience rejection. Everyone has experienced rejection. Not everyone will like you. Not everyone will need your skill set, but there is someone who will, and that person will be so grateful and so excited to have you. And so I think that's an awesome piece of advice, Natalia. Do you guys have any other final advice as we kind of wrap up this chit chat?
Okay. I truly believe that if each of us follows our calling with discipline and authenticity, we can slowly change the narrative that says arts and designs aren't valuable. We can be examples for other young designers who are doubting whether to keep dreaming. And if I could do it, you can do it too. And not because it's easy, but because it's possible. Talent is everywhere, but opportunities aren't. So build your own and never stop learning, because this is a good skill for the future. Never stop learning. Always the courses, keeping studying and keeping creating. Never stop creating.
That's great advice. And Leslie, any final words from you, ma'am?
Like, I'm just thinking, like, it's more of like a do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. Just I feel like as designers, we're all like trying to be perfectionists, but nothing is ever going to be perfect. Just do like whatever you're scared of doing, just go for it, apply for the job, ask a person for advice, just look for opportunities in your area, just talk to people, learn new skills, just go for it and don't be afraid of failure.
That's a great final note. Yeah, don't be afraid of failure. Go for it. And what do you think, Natalia?
And go to therapy.
Yes.
It's really important.
We all need therapy. Final thoughts.
Yeah, the mental health is really important. And don't forget about to go to therapy and have your family and your friends close always.
Yes. So grab your people. Job hunting is not for the weak, and imposter syndrome and setting up your first opportunity, never easy. And I don't think it's been easy for anyone. So that's a great word. Protect your peace, protect your mental health, go for it, get out there, and you'll do great. So thank you so much, ladies, for hopping on today and chatting about this with me. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Bye.
Bye.
Next in Line Design is a podcast for designers by young designers. We hope that you really enjoyed today's episode. We've got some really exciting conversations coming up that we can't wait to share with you. Every episode, you're going to have the chance to meet a new member of the YDC. So enjoy our rotating cast of designers and feel free to reach out in the comments just to say hey, maybe to share some feedback, your story, or tell us more about the kind of conversations that you'd like to be hearing. In the meantime, make sure to subscribe to the WDO's channels and hit that notification bell so that you never miss an episode. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you back here soon with more of Next in Line Design.